How to adjust your cut settings. On the keypad, if we press 9, all going to plan, we'll have a bunch of preloaded cut settings that show up. If they're not there, by all means make contact with Strata. We can email these through to you, put them on a USB, put them in the machine, press F4 to import, and these cut settings will populate. At the same time, there are going to be times where you want to manually set them and save them. The other thing we can do here is we can export them onto a flash drive and you can share them with somebody else through your computer. On your keypad, pushing 1 and 2 will adjust your arc voltage. So this increases or decreases the travel height of your torch from your plate. Pushing 4 and 5 will adjust your initial height setting. Initial height setting is the torch comes down, touches the plate, comes back up. If we increase our initial height setting, it increases the time, so it will make it a longer time and it will travel further away from the plate. If we decrease that, obviously it's going to bring it down and have a closer start point. Once again, on thicker plate, we're going to be starting at a higher point. On thinner plate, we're going to be starting at a lower point. If we push number 6 on our keypad, it is IHS test, initial height setting test. So it will come down, touch the plate, lift back up, and it will give you an accurate measurement of how far we are off that plate. On the keypad, our next thing we're going to look at is pierce time. So once again, we want to have it piercing through the plate and taking off straight away. If we push T on the keypad, we can adjust that pierce time up and down to match what we need. If we push G on the keypad, it will let us toggle between demo and cutting mode. If you're not sure about how big the object is, whether it's cutting in the right space, whether you're starting on the right point on the plate, push G, switch it into demo mode, push start, it will launch into it and it will give you a really good idea of where and when that cut's going to happen. On the keypad, we also have the button N, which is for kerf. Now my suggestion is that we don't adjust this on the machine and we adjust it on our CAD drawing software for the different cuts. If we do adjust it on the machine, we need to make sure that we change it each time for our cuts. Thinking about why we adjust kerf, if we're cutting down at 30 amps, we're going to have a much narrower cut than if we're cutting at 80 amps. It could be the difference between maybe 2 mil and 4 mil cut. So our 100 mil object may get bigger or smaller depending on our kerf width. So we may need to adjust this on the machine. The easiest way is to do a sample cut, grab your verniers or tape measure out, have a measure and make sure it's accurate enough for your use. The next key is X. Now this adjusts our manual tracking speed. So I like to have this up as high as possible. Essentially it means that when I use the arrow keys on the keyboard, it's going to move around the plate quick and get to the next start destination. Once I've got there, I can either demo or I can go straight into my cut. If we have our manual speed down low, it's going to take ages for it to get from one point to another point on the plate when we're manually tracking. So to select our starting point, we can use the manual arrows on our keypad. It will move the torch head to where we want it on the plate and we're good to go. F1 will also select our starting point for our shape. So if we had a square, it might have 4 separate pierce points or 4 different places it could start on that square. Pushing F1 and pressing it again to move the start point will shift it from the base to the top to the other side or back down. If we have a scrap of steel and we're trying to maximize our plate usage, shifting our starting point can be a smart move.